What's up, everybody? My name is Isaac Huss, and today I want to talk about 5 things men care about other than physical appearance. Yes, believe it or not, there are things men are looking for in a woman other than how they look. And rightly or wrongly, men have gotten something of a reputation, and they've all been lumped together in this reputation, for being particularly visually stimulated, maybe even to a fault. And that might be true in a lot of contexts, but being a man and knowing plenty of other men, I can definitely say that there are plenty of other things that men are looking for in a date, in a girlfriend, in a wife, that go beyond her physical appearance. And I think it'd be helpful to talk about it. But first, a few disclaimers. First, visual appearance matters, and I'm not going to sit here and say that it doesn't, because it does. But it's not the most important thing, and it's certainly not the only thing that we look for, not by a long shot. Number 2, this would be a real weird video if I spent 5 or 10 minutes telling you about my personal preferences when it comes to women, so I'm not going to do that. Instead, I talk to a lot of the men that I know, some real good friends, some just acquaintances, about what they're looking for in a woman beyond physical appearance. So yes, I tried to find a common thread through them all, but I'm also happy to share some of the more interesting or maybe even thought-provoking answers that I got. But don't think about this as like a dream wish list for a build-your-own woman. These guys know that that doesn't exist, and it isn't meant to put undue pressure on anybody. So if nothing else, consider this video just an opportunity to gain a different perspective from a male point of view in this wild world of dating. So, without any further ado, here are 5 things men look for other than appearance. Number 1, confident, active, and adventurous. So I'm gonna let you in on a little dirty secret. Every last one of us all over the face of the earth has flaws. There's no such thing as a perfect body. And let's be honest, sometimes we ourselves can be our own worst critics. My buddy Scott sees a woman who is confident in her own body, flaws and all, as being really attractive, and I can agree. He would go on to say that a woman who is confident in the way she carries herself, in her wardrobe, in the activities that she does, that draws him to her in a way that a woman who's just not as obviously confident just doesn't. Even regardless of a woman's particular body type, if she exudes confidence in her own skin, that's attractive. Scott would go on to say that a woman's confidence can come through in the way that she dresses. If she's a snazzy dresser, if she obviously takes time to take care of herself and to present herself well, professionally, socially, that catches his eye. Joshua co-signs on the confidence thing, and it definitely goes beyond appearance for him, even to her confidence in her vocation and in the abilities that she brings to the table. My buddy Nick said he's attractive to a woman who likes to do fun activities, particularly activities that they can do together on a date. If nothing else, it just makes those first few dates a lot easier, so you don't have to sit across a table and constantly be trying to continue a conversation when all you really have is the conversation. And my buddy Matt agrees with that. He likes to play frisbee, golf, go hiking on dates. Just something to get active, and so you can kind of have this shared experience and not just stare at each other the whole time. A lot of guys just find themselves drawn to women that they can do fun things with, particularly outside. Nathan, for instance, likes a woman who can be adventurous and even spontaneous with her time. And a lot of us, I think, can we relate to the idea that we want to be able to travel with somebody, and it's attractive to me in particular, a woman who has places that she wants to go and even places that she has been. Even one time, I remember distinctly Harrison telling me that I would know when I met the one if all I wanted to do was just be with her. Like, we could hop in the car and it wouldn't even matter where we were going or how long it would take. As long as we were together, that was enough. And I think I know what he meant, but I'll be honest, there's probably a point where being in a car with just about anybody would be a bit too much. But all in all, to me, a confident woman is an attractive woman. And in particular, a woman who is sure about herself, who knows who she is. She doesn't feel the need to fit in or to, mold herself to the passing fads. Not only is that attractive in its uniqueness, but it also shows me that she's her own person and that she is confident in that and that I can count on. That's who she's going to be beyond this year or next year or this season of fashion or that season of pop culture. Number 2, kind and affirming. There are a few things that will impress me more about a woman than just good old-fashioned kindness. And conversely, there are a few things that will turn me off as hard and as strongly and as quickly as a lack of kindness. When she seems genuinely happy to see me, when she's legitimately wanting to know how I am and how my day was and interested in what I'm up to, how I've been doing, when she compliments me. Those are the types of things that linger with me long after we parted for the evening. Joshua agrees, but also makes a further distinction. He's not simply looking for someone who's nice or someone who's sweet or polite, but someone who is genuinely interested in him, his thoughts, his desires, and also genuinely wants what's best for the people around her. I swear to you, there is just something about the right compliment that cuts through the heart of even the most machismo manly man and really makes a difference in her attractiveness. My buddy Stefan points out that yes, it is just one of the many love languages, but when it comes to romantic relationships, it's really hard to do without this one. And again, it stands out not just to those who are particularly linguistic in that language, but I really think it applies to most every guy that I've talked to. Because let's face it, relationships are hard. And sometimes we just need to know that what we're doing is appreciated. My buddy Matt will put it even a little bit more bluntly. He says, I know I'm not an idiot, but sometimes it's just nice to hear that out loud. And when I feel affirmed, let's be honest, that actually helps to make more room for the not so warm and cuddly constructive criticism. As my buddy Ryan says, when he knows where he stands with a woman, when he's been able to receive good compliments, feedback, what have you, he knows exactly when he's doing a good job in a relationship and when he's not doing such a good job. Every once in a while, I'll think about what it would be like to be old and gray with hopefully a wife by my side. Am I going to be thinking about 2 or 3 decades earlier how beautiful she was and how glad I was that I picked the most physically attractive wife of them all? Or am I going to be happy that I chose the one that was the most kind and thoughtful and had her priorities straight? For my buddy John, it can be literally something as simple as a woman asking him how his day was. And if that sounds overly simplistic, well, dudes are kind of simple. Number 3, a good conversationalist. By far, the most popular response I got on this topic is how much you enjoy actually having a conversation with somebody. If you think about it, that's what you're going to be doing the most. It's not going to be sex. It's not going to be playing golf or even washing dishes. It's going to be talking to each other. So, what makes for a good conversation? Alex says it's a balance between sharing and being inquisitive. Corey agrees, and he also says he really notices when a woman can make really good eye contact. So you're not just simply talking in the same room, but there's really a connection. My buddy Dave says it needs to be a give and take, and he also really appreciates when she has her own experiences and opinions and thoughts and knowledge to bring on the subject, whether it's really important and deep, or if it's just everyday topics. You really get the feeling that a lot of these guys have been on their fair share of bad dates when the conversation is just kind of shallow or choppy or just kind of painful, as John would say, like pulling teeth. Jeff says a sharp wit really impresses him, and I can agree, and while a lot of people claim to be sarcastic and like that sort of humor, I can also say there's a very fine line sometimes between sharp sarcasm and good-natured irony. And to me, being able to balance that is very, very impressive in a human being and very attractive in a woman. Finally, Joshua said he would probably never even consider dating a woman that he couldn't enjoy conversation with. And I don't think he's alone in that. Number 4, trustworthiness. Looking around the dating scene in the year 2022, with proliferation of dating apps and with temptation theoretically just a click of a button away, relationship loyalty may be just about as rare as it's ever been. But for those of us who value old-fashioned things like monogamy, there's no level of physical attraction that's going to be able to overshadow or replace the ability to trust somebody. You can't always predict who's going to cheat, unfortunately, but you can look for other indicators. Brian, for instance, looks for consistency in ideals and personal convictions. But we're not just talking about cheating here. Too many guys that I know, myself included, have been going along with a relationship with a woman and everything seemed to be going just fine, if not really well, and progressing, only to have it all just kind of blow up in their face, somewhat unexpectedly. So, simple things like whether she's generally punctual or fulfills her commitments don't go unnoticed. And more challenging things like whether she's forthright about difficult subjects really stands out. As Chris said, high quality character, although difficult to identify right off the bat, certainly carries more weight than physical attractiveness and certainly lasts the test of time. So what do we mean by high quality character? Well, in a word, integrity. That we can trust what she's saying is what she actually means and what she actually intends on doing, and then she follows through on that. Number 5, openness to motherhood. I'm learning the more and more that I date, if the big picture things don't line up, doesn't matter how attractive she is physically, how much our hobbies line up, how much our personalities line up. If I can't see a future with this person, it's hard for me to get too excited about it. And let's face it, one of the bigger things in life, especially when it comes to relationships and marriage, is whether she wants to have children. And I'm not alone. So Alex, for instance, says one of the most important things for him as he's looking for a woman is how much he agrees with somebody on marriage, kids, and what they both consider to be a good life. Now, whenever I'm tempted to wonder aloud how many children I would like to be blessed with someday, sometimes I'm reminded by women how the commitment to having children is much more sacrificial on their end. And yes, a lot of that has to do with their bodily makeup. Believe me, my buddies and I can appreciate a woman who looks good in a bathing suit, but we also know where babies come from. And we're inclined to think that perhaps the most generous and self-sacrificial and beautiful things about a woman is her ability and willingness, in this case, to carry a child. And yes, that will probably come at the expense of her beach bod, but that's a trade-off many of us are more than happy to make for the sake of our relationship and for building a family together. So, in conclusion, those 5 things men care about more than physical appearance: confident, active, and adventurous, kind and affirming, good conversationalist, trustworthy, and openness to motherhood. All right, that's all I got for you today. But what do you think? Ladies, is this news to you? Men, did I leave anything out? That's what that comment section below is for. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are about this video and any topics you'd like me to cover in the future. If you like what you've heard, please hit that like button. And why don't you subscribe to the videos if you haven't yet, so that you can see the next one when it comes out. And if you hit that bell, you can get notified immediately when a new video comes out. Thanks so much, and I'll see y'all very soon.